Tell me, when you were a kid back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, what did you do on the family computer? Maybe you played some Mario Flash games on a website that doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe you had a few pieces of edutainment, like Millie's Math House and Sonic's Schoolhouse. Well, for me, it was kind of a combination of all those. But the one I liked the most were these. This is part of a piece of software by the name of EasyLink, the Internet Launchpad. And I want to put a little bit of a deep dive on this piece of software I grew up with when I was really little. Now, I don't have the actual hardware. All I have is the two figures from my childhood and the disc. Yeah, the original hardware has 100% been thrown away. But just having the figure still is kind of nuts. Now, they made several of these. When you bought the Launchpad, it came with three. It came with the dog, it came with Elmo, and it came with the Wiggles. I don't have the Wiggles one anymore. And there was also a few others. There was like Bob the Builder, Barney, Dragon Tales for some reason. And honestly, I have some really fond memories of this thing. So why don't we go and try and boot this up on the computer? So, trying to install the software on Windows 10. Oh. Windows 10 thinks this thing is a virus. Okay, so we're going to have to bust out an old virtual machine for this. Now, I tried my absolute best to get this thing running on Windows XP. I could not. I did everything I could. First, it asked me to install a very specific version of Flash Player. Okay, so I went on the internet. Don't go on the internet on Windows XP, by the way. I went on the internet, installed it, nothing happened. That's great. Trust me, I tried everything. This thing would just not boot. So, I said, fuck it. I'm going to try and boot this shit on Windows 7. Something that isn't recommended. The only operating systems that are recommended is 2000 XP and Vista. But hey, I thought Windows 7's just Vista. It should work, right? Well, let's see how Live Reaction Me feels about that. So here we are on my non-activated copy of Windows 7. I used to go on the dark web on this, which is pretty awesome. And I also found something really fucking cool in the documents. I found this guy. Yeah, this guy's pretty cool. I don't know who the fuck this is. I think I found it on like a forum, a dark web forum. And I thought it was really funny. I would make this the wallpaper. But, holy shit, I can? So, let's see if we can even fucking install it through this. And if we can't, and it's asking me to download Adobe Flash Player again, then I'll just go and do it. Because, I mean, I have a web browser right here. And it's pretty much Firefox. So, I mean, there should be no issues whatsoever. And I'm not using this piece of shit. Now, the crazy thing is Windows 7 is a lot slower than Windows XP. And I also don't think Flash is installed. Yeah, Flash is not installed. Needs Flash Player 8 active or above. Oh shit, this is actually installing it this time. Yeah, do that. So we're already getting further than we did last time. Oh, it's done. Holy shit, it's actually working. Okay. So we need to set a password. I remember when my dad set the password for whenever I used to use this as a young little child. Do you know what it was? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hint. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holy shit! Oh, I remember this. I don't have the device. I don't have the device. But I know exactly how this thing used to work. parental controls. Yeah, let's see what we have under parental controls. Got password, timer. My dad never had a timer on it. Allow your child to print. No, we didn't have a printer. But here's the thing. My dad. But yeah, so this is pretty much what it was, and my dad told me the password so I could get out of it. But sorry to break the magic, but this thing is literally just Internet Explorer. How do I know this? Well, let's go see the files. These are the files. And you have one here called URL. What could be in this? Well, let's open it. The home URL would take you to Fisher Price. That's fob ID 3. Fob ID 2 would take you to the Wiggles. And, you know, the other websites too. Fob ID 1 took you to Sesame Street. Yeah. The figures are just keys. So when you put them in, it just loads up a website. You can change this to any website that you want. Any website that you want. You could, you know, make this go to youtube.com if you really wanted to. Of course, it's using a really outdated version of Internet Explorer. It's not going to work, but you can. But, of course, it's not going to work. But, yeah. So, all the... Okay, nice undo. But, yeah, this is pretty much all the links. So, the dog would take you to Fisher Price. The Wiggles figure would take you to the Wiggles. Elmo would take you to Sesame Street. There's Clifford, Barbie, Polly Pocket, Arthur, Bob the Builder, Barney, Dragon Tales, Thomas. I think there was also a Disney one. And then if you try to go to a website that you weren't allowed to, like these websites today would take you to like fucking YouTube or some shit. Like they would have YouTube links. It would say that the page is blocked. But yeah, that's pretty much how this thing worked. It's just Internet Explorer, but with specific pages you can go to, and they had Flash games and stuff. And those Flash games that you remember have been preserved because you can just go to these sites. Like, nothing stopping you from just going to these sites today. So I also want to bring this up about the figures, and I think this is how it worked, okay? This is how I think the thing worked, because again, I don't have the actual hardware, and I'm not spending $20 for the hardware. So if you look at the figures, you can see something pretty interesting with their base. These are different sizes. So how I think this thing worked was when you put it in, this thing pushes, like, I don't really know. I think what happens is, like, this is the base one. This is the regular one. So I think there would be several pins, and they go up. And with this Elmo one, you can see only one pin will be all the way up while the other two are down. So I think that's how these things worked, is there's like pins or something. I don't really know. And the plastic's molded in a specific way to push down some of the pins to be like, hey, you inserted the dog one. You inserted Elmo. And that's how I think, that's personally how I think these things worked. It's very simple. There's another toy that's kind of like this. I don't remember the name of that toy or what it is exactly. But there's another toy where you can easily just like push down some certain things. Lego Mario. It's a lot like Lego Mario, where when you put on different pants, it just presses different buttons. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. So yeah, I just want to note that real quick, and I think that's how these things worked. So if you had the hardware but not the figures, you could probably just like put like a piece of cardboard, like pressing down random ones. It would probably be like, oh, there's the Bob the Builder one, there's the Barney one, you know. But yeah. Just wanted to make that quick point. Now, here's the thing. The reason why this is flagged as a virus on modern Windows is because when you launch the program, like, you can't fucking get out of this. Like, everything you try, Control, Delete doesn't work, Task Manager doesn't fucking work. Nothing works. You can't get out of this unless you know the password. And Jesus Christ, this thing can barely run. And here's another thing, I need to restart the computer for this one. So around here, the recording fucked up, and for some reason it was capturing my mouse but not the screen, because Streamlabs OBS sucks ass. But yeah, the other thing I was going to show you is how, and you can actually see it in the XP footage, this thing runs in the background when you start the computer. So that's probably the second reason why Windows thinks this thing is a virus. Not only does it disable Control-Alt-Delete and the Task Manager, but it runs in the background as well whenever you start the computer. That's not... And from what I know, it doesn't actually boot into the software. Now, maybe it was supposed to and it just isn't working for some reason. But still, it shouldn't be loading in the background whatsoever. Maybe there was a setting I could have enabled. I don't know. But yeah, this is very, very sketchy, you know? And honestly, it's probably a good thing this thing has been left forgotten. Because honestly, there was nothing interesting to it. I could legitimately recreate what it would have looked like to play on this thing, because this thing's literally just a different Internet Explorer. And I found that out when looking at the specific version of Flash it was asking me to download, ActiveX. That is the Internet Explorer Flash player. So yeah, this thing is literally just Internet Explorer in a fancy UI. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the EasyLink Internet Launchpad. I had a very boring childhood. If I wasn't playing Mario Flash games and watching YouTube, I was playing Arthur games on this thing.